In this clip, Dave begins mixing in lead guitars. A problem that occurs right from the get-go is that the tones sound pretty similar to the rhythm tones, and in these situations it's best to try and get a hold of the DI so you can reamp the guitars with a tone that gives the lead guitars their own characteristics. But because these tones are printed, check out how Dave processes these tones so they stand out from the rhythms.
Okay, let's see where leads are at. I'm just going to bring them in on their own. They're going to the master guitar group still, but there's really no processing other than that virtual console on there. So I'm going to try them on their own track first. If I feel like they might work well feeding into all the processing we have on rhythm guitars so far, sometimes I'll do that and then add an EQ that pushes some mids or something like that. But I'll try it without first, and then we'll decide how we're going to handle that. A little bit of that soothe helped out a little bit. Again, I just pulled it over from rhythm guitars. Sounds fine. And we'll jump into an EQ here. Good already. Let's throw some of this lead delay on here. So this is kind of a cool preset that's sort of like a tape delay style sound. So I like those a lot on guitar leads because they add that ambience, but since the delays are softer, it doesn't step on the actual performance. It's kind of like, it's more of like a reverby sound, somewhere in between delay and reverb, because it just really like adds this nice, luscious bed underneath the actual performance. But you're not tripping over it, you know. With
You're a nice, luscious bed.
I get that all the time, believe it or not.
That's what I've heard.
Let's see if I want to bring over the refinement too. Come on, move, bud. Ooh, sounded good. I'm gonna try and add some spiciness to them rhythm guitars, and get them a little brighter. Maybe give me some some mids that are a little wider sounding, because I think the leads are sounding pretty cool. They're starting to find their pocket, but I don't want them to totally eat the rhythm guitars. Let's see where I can push some mids here. I probably shouldn't reference the final version. It's kind of like cheating. But yeah, I'll try and stay away from that. Honestly,
well, that would be past you helping future you, right? Kind of.
Yeah, it's
opposite
like
we were just
future me
talking about.
betraying past me.
True.
Is really how I view it. Yeah, and past me is not one to fuck with.
Well, you're doing
it. Okay, it sounds good. There's some harshness here. We're gonna maybe attack the mids of those leads too. We're just trying to like the upper mids, high end of any Gojira guitars are such a balance to find. I'm not gonna go too crazy because I could probably sit here for hours.
Can you talk about one thing real quick?
Mhm.
Because I know that this comes up for people all the time. This is one of the most frequent questions. And I know that this is something that every single mixer that has gotten good at mixing metal has had to deal with when EQing guitars. What is your approach for cutting out the shit without neutering the guitars, meaning especially in the high mids, like when you're going for the nasties?
Yeah, honestly, I feel like some of the newer tools we have, like Soothe and Refinement, have made that way easier. So you have to be conscious to not go overboard. But usually, the situations where I found myself like going way overboard is when I'm doing that for like 30 minutes. Because if you're just working on those harsh tones for like 30 minutes, it's way easy to become so accustomed and so tuned in that you're just like cutting way too much. So the if you use them properly, you can absolutely overuse Soothe and Refinement in any of those tools. But if you use them properly, they allow you to kind of do that job in like 1 minute or 2 minutes. And then if you feel like you need to tweak it later, you can, but you're not just focused in on it for so long.
Isn't that kind of the same answer as if you're doing it with just EQ, is don't spend too long on it?
Absolutely. But it's just like with EQ, it just kind of becomes necessary to spend some amount of time, like longer than that. You have to find
More
the
than 2 minutes.
frequencies, and so there's no way of avoiding that in some fashion.
More than
if
2
you're just
minutes,
using
less
EQ.
than 30.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
2 minutes less than 30 would be fine.
All right.
But yeah, it's really just that's I guess that's what it boils down to. Don't stick only doing that for too long and constantly reference. Like before you get into that stuff, you need to bring some references in and make sure you're not totally neutering the guitar tone, because you absolutely can. I could take both of these and pull them down to 10, 12 dB, and there's no way those guitars will ever sound aggressive again after that. So just like everything, it is a balancing act. But the tools that we have available now do make it a lot easier. Okay. Back to it.
Back in my day, you had to actually EQ guitars.
I deleted a node by accident. There you go. Okay, I feel like we need to get some vocals in here. That's a pretty goddamn prominent part of this song. And then we'll try and start buttoning everything up with some mixed bus stuff. But we're at a good spot now. Sounds good. The vibe is there. It just needs some polish, but the balance is good. Everything has its own little area. And see, like all that prep work we did up front is kind of making this part shape up a little faster, I feel like.
So Samuli, I'm not gonna try this last name. So wondering, can we see that lead delay plugin? It sounds so cool.
Yeah, it is an old school plugin. It's one of the very few that I have to use a 32-bit to 64-bit wrapper on. And I'm going to save my project because maybe 1 time out of 12 when I open the GUI, it'll crash Cubase. That's why I didn't show it before, but I'm going to do it right now. Oh, and we're fine. Okay. So yeah, you can see this is like a J bridge version, and it's Vox and Go analog flux delay, and this is a journeyman preset, and I've been using it for probably 15 years, and it just gets me where I need to go. It's like my lead guitar delay. I like it. I can get similar. I've replaced it, all of my like lead vocal delays and main delays for throws and stuff like that, but this one, I just like this. I like this version, so that's what I use. I don't even think you can buy it anymore. one of these days I will have to move on because it'll probably just create too much instability. But until then, sticking with it.